All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside. Let's see if I can move a little closer in here. The lighting's weird this morning. Sometimes we have sun this morning and sometimes we don't. It's only going to be in the mid-70s here today. It was 94 here yesterday. And that's what it's like here on the high desert. 1 minute it's scorching hot, and the next minute, you got to put on a coat. My heat's on. It actually, I have it set at 66. It's actually came on in the house a few minutes ago. My husband's like, "Is that the heat?" I'm like, yeah, it is. So I hope everybody's weekend went well. We stayed in a bunch yesterday because of the heat. In fact, we didn't even do our walk last night. It was so hot. It was at 9 o'clock at night. It was like 85. We're like, no. Besides, the mosquitoes were going crazy. Of course, we don't help the matter because we have ponds. So, but there's catfish in there, and they tend to keep most of it down, but when you have flood irrigation, sometimes things get a little swampy. So, but at least there's water. The alternative is not so good. So, okay, let's count 13 and see what the card has to say today. I was thinking to myself, I don't want to pull a court card on a Monday. So, King of Wands. So, yeah, the king is, well, here we have directionality. I talked about this once before. When they're looking to the left, it means the past. When they're looking to the right, they're focused on the future. Right now, we have some interesting things going on, in our country, where now apparently our so-called King of Wands wants to do away with due process. Well, that's not how this country works. It's always tempting to take the shortcut, isn't it? But what it does to everything just isn't good. Wands is a fire suit. And a king is either the qualities of someone who's maybe an authority figure, or it could be that there's a gentleman in your life that's, powerful and fiery, and they can be generous. The King of Wands can be generous, but they can be full of pride and they can act impulsively. The downside of Wands is impulse control. They lack that. But when they're a positive force to be reckoned with, then they really are a force to be reckoned with. They can get things done. Things they can be a mentor. They can be outgoing and passionate and just a real driving force in someone's life. And if you're that type of a person, you want to make sure that you remain in balance, because the fire element within can run amok. This individual could be cruel and bigoted and all of these things that we're seeing now. So right now what we're seeing is perhaps the King of Wands run amok. And so within, if we're talking about, who we are within, we can be the warrior, but what are we warring against? Is it a war within? Is it a war without? Are we picking battles that we're not going to win? Are we picking battles that we shouldn't be picking to begin with? How out of balance, is this king? Or how out of balance is the king within? So, but let's see what the rune has to say, always with court cards, because you just never know. A court card only gives you so much information. I mean, the obvious is the guy in the Oval Office. That's the obvious thing. The not so obvious thing is how do these kinds of things manifest within us? So let's see. I had a gardening mishap, so I have a Band-Aid on my finger. It's hard to do this. Oh, well, righto. We haven't seen this one yet. This is an interesting one. Righto's about travel, in a sense. It's in the first ayat of the Elder Futhark. It is rune number 5, so it's indicating change. So either the king is invoking change, which it looks like that's what's happening. It's not going to go anywhere. I mean, of course, I say that, and then we've seen Supreme Court decisions that just, boggle my mind. So I don't know. But the whole thing is that the thing about Rado is the whole idea of rhythmic, cyclical action. So it's, if you can imagine the rider and the horse, okay? So how the rider and the horse partner together and they move together in rhythm to get where they need to go. The rider is not fighting the horse is not trying to buck off the rider. Everything is moving in unison. So it really illustrates how when a king is ill-dignified, the unity just goes right into the crapper, doesn't it? So basically what we want to attune to is the cosmic harmony, the as above, so below. We want spirit again to inform the king to be compassionate and to have and to act with justice and right order. That's the other thing with Rado. It's about justice and how everything moves in synchronicity with one another. The other thing that it does is it creates harmonious working relationships, which aren't going to happen when you are demeaning and denigrating and name-calling people. It just doesn't happen. I think in one rune readings that we're doing, the rune is essentially explaining to the tarot card what it is they're supposed to be doing in order to, progress positively in this world. The Rado is also about finding our true purpose, and more about the process being what's real. And instead of the goal, have your process be the focus, because if you're just so hell-bent on getting to this goal, perhaps you cut so many corners, just like giving up due process. He wants to solve the immigration problem. Well, so does everyone. But we don't give up our constitutional rights and the constitutional right you now have the second you set foot on our soil, because that's what we do here, okay? We're that kind of people, to where we extend our privileges to others when they're here and our protections to others when they're here. They have a right to due process. We have a right to due process. The second theirs goes, so does ours. This makes no sense, folks. It just doesn't. So the king is run amok. He doesn't understand that he needs to create a harmonious working relationship, not only with his staff, but also with the American people. This is a job that they're doing. It is not something that belongs to him. At any given moment, we can throw him out for any number of things. You see, this is not a permanent situation like he would like it to be. So you have to be able to go to work the next day and face people. So when you ridicule and you demean and you try to take rights away that we've all enjoyed for so long, it makes zero sense. So the harmony that Rado presents helps us to correct those imbalances that have brought us to the brink, basically. We have to start moving in harmony with each other. That's basically what this is all about. And to act with compassion and integrity toward others. To not say, well, sign this piece of paper, get yourself deported, we'll give you your kid back. Really? So it goes from bad to worse. Each day we get up, it goes from bad to worse because the king is out of control and he doesn't know how to work in harmony with anybody. Well, I don't know. I didn't vote for him. So anyhow, I guess that's the theme of today. Are we working at cross purposes with what we really want to get done and what should get done? Or is our ego so out of control that we want to take the easy road to ways that are authoritarian and oppressive, and sure, we might get whatever nutty thing we want, but is it the best thing for the rest of the world? You know, the King of Wands, when that, you know, you're basically in an authoritarian position or an authority position over others. So you can be the authoritarian, or you can be the benevolent president or benevolent leader. You know, there's a choice that we make. You know, clearly, the service to self guy. I don't know what you do there. I don't know how you pull him back from that perspective. You know, you're either somebody that can see the bigger picture and the greater unified presence of all and respond to that in a way that preserves it and protects it and defends it and nurtures it. We could be taking aim energy for blowing things up to putting it into preserving things and making things actually better for people, you know? But instead, you know, we want to do this to people and we want to hurt them as a means to control. But at the end of the day, what will you have? You know, you'll be all alone in your little control thing. And what good is that? So when you're thinking about either this situation, you know, that we're all going through, or if you're dealing with authority issues within, how are you expressing it? Are you expressing it benevolently, or are you being, you know, hard-hearted about all of it? You know, these days, I think we've had enough of the hard-heartedness, haven't we? And it's time for some benevolence. So think about that for today. And and so far, we'll see how this thing processes and everything. But I got a new modem on Friday. The guy came from the cable company, was really great. Recommended a new wireless router. Mine wasn't enough, basically. And so we got that yesterday, believe it or not, on a Sunday. And everything seems to be working really well. I have green lights on my modem. I have never had green lights on my modem other than the power light. They've always been yellow. So I've never had good signal here. So suddenly I have it, and hopefully it's not an illusion. So anyway, have a wonderful day. See you tomorrow, and blessed be.